neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and heavy metal we trust. It's time to review Van Weezer, the long-awaited and often delayed 15th studio album. Can't believe there's 15 of them by the alternative rock band Weezer. Headed into this, I think all of us should have been in the know that this would be kinda intentionally cheesy and gimmicky, as it kinda pays homage to the 80s metal and hard rock scene. Van Halen, obviously a big name out there that influenced the riffs on this record and the overall style, and after Eddie Van Halen from Van Halen passed away last fall, this album was officially dedicated to him. Rest in peace to an absolute guitar legend. The beat rolls on for Weezer. Earlier in 2021, they released OK Human, which was a more string-based approach, and this is kind of the polar opposite because they're shredding the strings on an electric guitar. Van Weezer features a lot of riffage, a lot of big drums, a lot of big vocals, and stadium-ready hooks that Rivers Cuomo just wants to belt out in a concert setting. When the Hella Mega Tour with Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer was initially announced, I was excited, but the only song of the three big releases that day that I thought was any good was The End of the Game by Weezer. The song is absolute lightning in a bottle. It represents what's going on the album cover. I love the tapped solo that opens the song. I love the fact that it has a huge, larger-than-life momentum swelling behind the hook. It's a fiery song that never really lets go, and to this day, I think it's still one of the absolute best on this album by a landslide. Since this album did take so long to come out, I ended up hearing 3 songs before its release, those being Hero, The End of the Game, and also Beginning of the End, the Wild Stallions edit. It was featured in the Bill and Ted movie that came out in 2020, and we will talk about it more, but there's an alternate version that appears on the record, but based on those initial teasers we were getting, I thought Van Weezer was shaping up to be kinda dumb fun in the best way. Don't get me wrong, this album is a lot of fun to listen to. It's very pump you up, vivacious type of energy, but it's also so stupid and so gimmicky, but it's also not something that I think I could ever hate. Susie Shin did a fantastic job producing this album. At least it sounds good from that standpoint. The guitars definitely have a big growl to them, and the drums on this record, well done, Pat. Shout out to you. I actually felt them throttling home on some of the album's best tracks. The problem comes in some of the deep cuts, where I feel that they bury some of the absolute worst lyrics that Rivers just had sitting around on his piano or else on his guitar deck somewhere and said, let's work Daddy into a song. It's kind of hilarious, some of the lyrics, the way that they're blurted out. That's kind of why I could never hate Weezer or ever hate Rivers Cuomo, because you never know when he's trolling and fishing for ideas or for a response, or if he's genuinely putting himself out there. And I think that's why OK Human was so special, because that barrier got broken down. Van Weezer, it's back in place, but we have to realize this album was supposed to come out first. For those out there like me that also love their album Everything Will Be Alright in the End, I think you'll really appreciate a few of the tracks that do have that oobate energy to them, including the Late in the Game single, I Need Some of That. 'Cause I need some of that. Scott Schreiner and Brian Bell do a great job with the backing vocals there, and the other times when they kick in the background of this album, it definitely works for that stadium rock type of feel. It gets the crowd going. I definitely feel the ignition switch flipped in my heart. It's something that adds an extra layer, an extra dynamic that almost makes it feel like maybe a little bit of Beach Boys meets Van Halen. Sheila Can Do It is another top standout. It reminds me of a few other Weezer eras. I think it's got an extremely well done chorus that's not too flashy, but also instantly gets screw-drived into your head. I think also all the good ones will call back to maybe like Beverly Hills, except maybe not quite as cheesy. It definitely has more of that spoken word, almost kind of rap sung feel that he did on that track from Make Believe, but this one just feels updated slightly for more of that 80s rock setting. With Van Weezer, I was honestly hoping for more like Maladroit and less like Make Believe, or other eras just kind of smushed together for the sake of going big or going home. I think it does work occasionally really well, but there's also some stinkers in there that just don't really do much at all, including Blue Dream that literally just borrows the entire riff from Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, and just keeps it going throughout the entire song except during the chorus, which is catchy, but is it enough to really lift it up out of the mire? I don't think so. To contrast that, One More Hit is super well done. I love the heaviness, I love how aggressive the chomping guitars are. Those drums from Pat, that's where they really come into the equation and start firing on all cylinders. So if we got more like that and less like She Needs Me, which is just really garbage lyrically, then I'd be a little bit more on board, at least to come back to this album more often. Collectively, can we just take a moment to complain about beginning of the end? Because the Wild Stallions edit for the Bill and Ted movie, it is far superior. This version is long-winded, the intro doesn't make sense, it's messy, and it also tanks the pacing of the record. I say that because coming out of I Need Some of That, you have the studio chatter with Rick Ocasek, obviously the producer for Ubate by Weezer and the legendary frontman of the Cars. He passed away. It's nice to be a fly on the wall for that, and I like that they included it. But 30 seconds of studio chatter, then going into some weird, wonky silence build-up on the new version of Beginning of the End, it just doesn't work. The rest of the song really doesn't change, it's just a little bit shorter overall. I just think that was a really dumb decision that kind of negatively impacted the record. It's small things like that that start to add up. Precious Metal Girl closes the album. It's the only song I haven't mentioned by name. I think it's fine. It's okay for kind of a lovey-dovey ballad to close out Van Weezer. I think that the momentum never really hits the peak that it's gunning for. It's trying to be cutesy, and I appreciate, I guess, the analogies to like precious metals being something valuable, and he's trying to tell this girl that he values her a lot, and there's a lot of other metaphors. It gets a little bit overboard in places, but again, it's fine. It's a decent enough closer. Let's be honest though, you didn't come to Van Weezer expecting the world. You didn't expect lyrical masterpieces, nor did I. I think there's some things that I can't really turn a blind eye to, but there's also plenty that works for them, and for the overall gimmick of Van Weezer, it works well enough, although I don't think it's gonna have a ton of replay on it. Overall for this, I'm gonna give it a strong 3 out of 5, and I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching my review of Van Weezer. If you want to check out my thoughts on OK Human, then tap here or tap here to see my favorite Weezer songs. All of my socials can be found in the description down below. A special shout out to my current $50 patrons, Dayton Hamilton, Brandon Barenfeld, and Sombre Artist. And other than that, I'll be back soon for more on ARTV.